Hey everybody, Everyday Peter here. We are back with my top books of 2017. These are just books that I have read in 2017. These are not books that were released in 2017. And today we are talking about the fantastic Saga series, which doesn't really work because I'm using my Kindle. Thought this was gonna be better. Quick synopsis. A planet and a moon have been in perpetual warfare for centuries. People don't even remember why they were originally fighting for. Eventually they decided, hey, instead of blowing up our worlds apart, let's spread this war into other areas of conflict. Much like Russia and America choosing, let's say, Vietnam and Korea. Our main heroes of this story are a woman from the planet, they are basically known as the wings, since all the people on the planet are born with some sort of wings, whether insect wings, bat wings, bird wings, and then moonies, who are people from the moon, who all have horns. What is really interesting about the texture of the world is that people from the planet are all sort of modern. They're using guns, they're very military based, they're sort of your sci-fi shooter. People from the moon are, they're basically elves. They're wielders of magic, they use swords and axes and battle armor. That is their way that they choose to fight. It's a classic Romeo and Juliet story, man from the moon. Yeah, classic Romeo and Juliet story. Man from the moon, woman from the planet, sort of fall in love while she's guarding him on a prison planet. They run away with each other, they have a baby. That is how the story starts. The child actually narrates our entire story. She is the main voice leading us through from book to book. Reasons why I love this story and why I will be giving Fiona Staples and Brian Vaughan my money from here on out. This story throws you for a lot of surprises and a lot of twists that you just don't see coming. Spoiler, characters get killed off, characters pop in that you thought were abandoned from the story, characters change. At the blink of an eye, we can jump anywhere from 1 week to 3 or 4 years. The progression of time in the series is incredibly fascinating because it's not linear like a Walking Dead type of story or time where we actually, as you turn the pages, you can feel oh, it's been 3 years. This also allows for better story building as we don't have to sort of wait for time to happen. We don't see mundane conversations happening between characters or anything that needs to be built that way. It's very much point. We are only seeing what we need to see. We are only getting the chunks of story that we actually need to see. We don't need to see anything that is filler, and that is what is so fantastic about this piece. Fiona and Brian don't have to fill every small possible moment with some sort of meaning or something. They're able to let things slowly build and make us care about characters that we would need so much more time to care about because we are seeing them with all these pivotal moments happening in their lives, and we're seeing them get built and connected and have relationships with other characters in the series, and we can see them that when something major happens, people get affected. There are reactions that beautifully help us create a much more combined world. Just a case in point, keeping this as spoiler-free as possible, the narrator says, and that's the last time my parents talked to each other and they had their biggest fight, and they don't talk to each other for months, and instead of having 2 books dedicated to these characters not talking, it's literally just a few pages because it's quickly sort of summed up. Keeping to the times, this is a very diverse cast. We have a lot of powerful women. They are villains, they are the protagonists, they are the wonderful side characters that help fill out this world. They really do explore all of these qualities that they set up, especially since the very get-go is we have a mother-father type situation, and we don't necessarily stay in any sort of typical branches. Staples and Vaughan really build out and develop these characters to be their own set pieces and tell a much more meaningful story. This story deals with everything from war, death, love, drugs, tolerance, every sort of topic that they could possibly think of to throw into the world, it is there, baby. And if it isn't there, I can guarantee you it will show up eventually. The amount of complicated and connecting storylines that our characters are lines through space and they intersect and then we don't see them intersect and then all of a sudden 5 years in the time span of the story have passed and here they are again and they're meeting again and you're like, what? That'll probably all be cut. And of course, if you are a fan of this series already, you know that the number one reason to be reading this comic is for this character, Goose. An adorable little seal man. You can see him here in his typical, I mean, he wears long johns. It's probably the most adorable version of him. Name is Goose, G-H-U, I believe with umlauts S. But he is just like he's just a pure little bundle of joy. How about you? Do you read Saga already? I read this through Comixology on my phone and on the Kindle Fire here. What do you think about the series? Are you in love with it as much as I am? If you want to check it out, please check it out. And as always, hit that subscribe button. One day I will learn to look at my camera here and not on the other side of my phone on this side because I want to make eye contact with you through the screen.